Hey ladies, welcome to week 1. So I'm gonna just go over our first week of workouts for Lift4 and teach you some modifications to look for this week. And these are things that you can really apply to any different workout program once this group is over. So for this program, you're gonna need a set of weights. If you don't have weights right now, run out to Walmart, do that. What I would start with are probably 5 and 8 pound weights if you have those. If you have 3 and 5s, you can start that way if you're super weak. But 5 and 8 pound weights, even a 10 pound weight for some of the leg stuff would be really great. I'm going to do my demo with 3 pound weights just for the sake of the video, but be kind of looking out on that. So for day 1, a lot of these moves are laying down on the ground, which are great because they're not going to put any pressure on your core. I do want to just show you 2 little things to keep in mind when you're doing laying down moves. The first one is to keep in mind how you get up and down off the ground. So when I lay down, I always lay down onto my side and then I roll over this way. Same thing when you're getting up, you roll over into your side and you press up, okay? That keeps your core protected. The people in the video won't do that because they don't have DR, so just kind of keep that in mind. The next thing is when you're doing these laying down moves, you can really actually think about engaging your core just a little bit. If you saw my video on Instagram the other day, I talked about how to find your transverse abdominis. So if you're standing here and you go ha ha ha, that ha move, you should feel that deep in here. It may not be super strong, but that ha move is your transverse abdominis. I want you to think about kind of engaging that when you're on the ground doing your chest presses and stuff like that. So if I give you an example here, okay, I'm gonna lay down right here. My knees are up. I'm gonna still do that ha kind of move just to kind of keep this tight in here so that when I'm doing my presses, okay, and I'm doing anything at all, like chest flies, that this is still tight and protected. It's a great way to kind of work it and keep it protected at the same time. So that's the only thing you really need to worry about in day 1 for that. And again, pressing up and going right here. So everything for the weightlifting side of things should be pretty simple on day 1. The only thing that we need to maybe modify a little bit is the HIIT training at the end. So there's 3 moves that come at the end. The first one is the soccer runs, and they're gonna look like this, and they will demonstrate these for you, okay? And they're just gonna be these little soccer kicks. Biggest thing that I do is I sometimes like to put my hands on my hips so I can think about that ha feeling. I don't super engage when I'm doing these, but I just kind of keep it like mindful. I a lot of times just like to put my hands on my hips just to kind of help me focus on that area and keeping it from bulging. That's just a little tip for me, and just you don't have to take it as high. The next one are mountain climbers. This is definitely a no-no for DR. It is on the ground like this and they're doing running. So you can do one of 2 things. The first easiest one I like to do is standing mountain climbers, okay? Where I just have my arms going up and down like this and my legs going up and down like this. Just keep in mind that your core is, just be careful with it. If you're really strong and you've done a lot of DR work, you can do mountain climbers off the edge of a couch. You can run it if you're careful and your core feels okay, or you can step it and focus on keeping that tight core, so it's kind of like a plank kind of challenge for yourself. But again, just listen to your body on that. The next one is catchers, which is gonna look like this. They have you go down like this and touch the ground. I think they have you jump up or jump back into plank and come back. I can't remember, but it's something like this. You bend down and then you jump up. Well, that whole bending over thing does not feel great. So what I do instead, a couple different things. If you wanna be in that position to work your legs, I just don't go as low and I just kind of like stand here and jump, okay? And you can have your core contracted a little bit. You could also go off the edge of a couch and have that wide stance. Just jump up and hold your hands up. Jump out, jump up, hold your hands up like this. So you're still doing the move, but you're raised off the ground so that you're not hurting yourself, okay? You can also run in place if that needs to happen. So that's day 1, okay? Day 2 is gonna be pretty simple. The only other thing I wanna keep in mind is some of the moves have you bending forward. So you're doing like a bent over row. Again, that pulls down on your belly a little bit. So here's a few things you can do. If you kind of get into a lunge position and stagger your stance, so they may be standing like this. If you stagger your stance and kind of get into a lunge position, you can work those back muscles, but just having this wider base of support gives you a lot more balance, okay? So just be thinking about that in every kind of thing that's bending over. Again, spread your legs, do that staggered stance, and that'll take a lot of that pressure off. Kind of pay attention, like don't lean forward as much, but at the same time, you don't want to do the move standing straight up and down. So really just listen to your body. The lower you can sink down to the ground, okay, the less that pulls and just be paying attention to that. Okay, everything else on that one should be good. You shouldn't have to modify that. The core stuff at the end of that one, so day 1, just skip the core stuff completely. I'm gonna give you some other core stuff to do. Day 2 has planks, and then it has one other move. The other move I know you can't do. If you wanna work on planks, you can. This is where I would start, okay? Baseline, everybody should start at an incline. So off of a stool, off of a couch, and on your knees, okay? See if you can hold this. This is probably too high. I need something a little bit lower, okay? So like if I had a little kid's stool, starting with that, and when you're doing your plank, squeeze your butt. That's the most important thing. Squeeze your butt. That will keep your back in alignment. Lift your feet up and have your shoulders, your hands under your shoulders, okay? And squeezing that there. Okay, again, it's that ha feeling. You should feel that. If you can do it on your knees on a stool, you could then do it on your knees on the ground, okay? If that gets to any point where you feel like you can't hold your core in, stop that, okay? Maybe you only plank for 10 seconds at a time and you take a break. That's something that you can build up to. I still don't do planks on my hands and my knees. I think it's still a lot of pressure. So really listen to your body on that. Okay, day 3, all of those should be pretty fine. Again, lighten your weight if you need to. The only one that's a little concerning, or you just have to be mindful of, is the front raise. When you're lifting your weight out in front of you, that requires a little bit more pressure, right? Like if your weight's like right here, it's a lot easier to lift something. But if it's out here, it's a lot harder, and that's more in your core. So just lighten your weights when you get to the one that's the forward raise. And again, that ha feeling, you need to keep contracted when you're doing that. The side raises and the presses, that's all straight. That doesn't affect your core at all as much. But that ha feeling is really important when you're doing these, okay? They also have like a hit move after every workout, like after every weight training set there. So one of the ones that you gotta be careful with, they have these knee jumps. So they have you doing these like straight, really big jumps, okay? That can be okay, but I just take them a little bit smaller. So my hands are on my hips, and I just kind of, I don't go back as far and then press up, because that's really jacking on your core. So I just do little ones straight up and down, okay? That's how I modify that. A burpee, no burpees, okay? Here's your modification for a burpee, okay? You step back, so the same arm and leg, step back, together, stay in a squat position, keep that tight, step back, bring it together, step back, bring it together. And I'm never coming out of that squat. And what I'm trying to do when I'm doing these, okay, is stay in alignment. I can feel my butt squeezing. I actually try to squeeze that while I'm doing this, and this becomes a really, really strong leg workout. You can add jumping into this if you want. So step back, stand, jump, step back, stand, jump. Okay, you can do that if you want to, but we're not doing regular burpees. The last one is a lunge jump. This can be kind of hard on you too. If you're doing these big, like jumping with lunging can be really hard. So again, you can be in this lunge position. Go lunge, bring it back, lunge, bring it back, lunge, bring it back. And I'm keeping my core tight. I'm never coming out of the squat, which is why it continues to work your legs, okay? Last day, day 4. This is leg work. This is all about lightening your weight to stay safe, okay? The first one is loaded squats. So they actually have you have pretty heavy weights, and they have you put them like right here or on your shoulder, okay? When you're doing a squat, a lot of times that presses your belly and can add a lot of pressure. So I do a couple things. Number 1, sometimes having my weight down to my sides helps me a little bit, or I just lighten the weight. That's another thing that you can do. They have you have your legs like really tight together, okay? That's that specific move. So you could do it like that. The other thing too is you can ditch the weights on that one, okay? And what I did when I did this move is I just ditched the weights and I just did more of them, okay? And when I stood up, I brought that belly button in and up when I stood up. So I went down and then I engaged as I came up, okay? And I'm pressing the weight into my heels. I'm pressing into my heels when I stand up, and that'll really work your legs. My bum is so sore from that workout, and I didn't do it with a lot of weights. So instead of doing the loaded squats with weights, you could just do 20. So they have you do 10 with weights. You could just do 20 a little bit more fast and really put the weight in your heels. I can almost lift up my front toes and just go up and down, and keep that core tight and just press up with your heels. Press up. Imagine there's something on top of your head and you're just using your head to press up, and you can do that without weights and be totally fine. The other one they have is deadlifts. These are kind of hard to figure out anyways. So lighten your weights with this. Maybe even, this is a really great one to do with a resistance band instead if you have one. You just put it around the loop on your foot and you stand up and do the deadlifts with your resistance band. I find these a little bit easier. Okay, but you're standing right here and you are gonna slide back down, and I keep my core tight when I'm coming down, and you bend your knees, okay? And really the hands stay up and down. When you watch this, the hands don't go out here, they don't come next to you. I pay attention to these. These are going straight up and down on a wall, okay? Up and down on a wall. And at the top,
it's like rolling paint.
It is like rolling paint. At the top, you squeeze your bum, and that's what brings you up, is that squeeze of your bum. That one's a hard one to learn to listen to your body with, so do that with lighter weights. And then the last one's the sumo squat lunges. These feel really great because when your pelvis is open, it just allows for a lot more room. So again, I just stay really, really wide with that. And when I I go down, when I come up, I squeeze my core when I come up, and I squeeze my bum at the top, okay? And then the last one is the lunges. Lunges are fine, but again, it's just a lot of pressure to do this kind of stuff sometimes. So lighten your weights or do it with no weights if you need to. One tip with lunges is when you're doing a lunge, your feet are on 2 different tracks. They are not one behind the other, they are on 2 different tracks. So that it's like this and together, this and together. So that's the front view. The side view of a lunge, okay, is like this. Okay, now you don't have to go down as low, but you wanna go back far. You don't wanna do a lunge like this because that can hurt your knees. So go back far. How low you go is up to you, but keep the farness and keep your body straight up and down. So sometimes it's a lot easier to maintain this without weight, which is totally fine to do, okay? And then we're skipping all the core stuff for the moves. They're just not great for you. You can do the plank stuff, you can do push-ups on your knees, and that is week 1. So let me know if you guys have any questions, and I hope you rock your first week.